Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Super Luigi Galaxy 2. In the last episode we gathered these three fellows here, 1, 2 and 3 green stars, and unlocked the green launch star, which takes us to the Planet of Trials. Oh yes. And these are 3 levels which are evil in their own ways. Let's start with the yellow level. Want to go to the rolling Gizmo Galaxy? Sure, why the fuck not? This is going to be awful, this entire episode, but you know, I'm ready for it. So, all 3 of these galaxies are one-shots, and this first one is Gizmo's Gears and Gadgets. And it is the 3rd, and I believe, final instance in the game of rolling on balls. As you can see, it's a rather complex level. So, let's roll. Fuck's sake. Jump onto the bloody thing first. There we go. Both hands are on the control stick. So, the beginning is relatively straightforward. We just have to get over this zigzaggy bit, which isn't a great start. It gives you a 1-up right at the beginning, which should tell you something about what it's expecting to come. If you're moving fast enough and you jump into these silver things, silver boxes, they blow up. And if you jump into this bridge, it falls down. And then we can proceed this way. And this is, oh, there we go, a little cannon. So hoover up a few coins here, and then get ready for the marble run. I do really like how the music, like it seems really obvious now, but it's a really clever thing of having like the music correspond to your actual speed through it. So you got this dice here, which slides in, and then it's going to slide back out again. There we go. And now we have this thing here. We've got some bob-ombs here. Obviously, nothing can actually hurt you whilst you are in the ball, but a bomb, like anything, will make you jump, which is not great. And we're on to now the second marble run bit. I'm actually doing bloody well here. This bit's kind of fun. You don't have to do anything at all. It just drives itself. It's wonderful. Up here, apparently, I do have to drive it. Ooh, wonderful. Let's suck up some free bits. God, well, it sounds really weird when you say it like that. Oh, mother! Oh, I wasn't ready to brake. There are, by the way, as you've noticed here, no checkpoints in this level. You gotta do it all in one. Oh, motherfucker, I was talking shit and had my arm tilted forwards. Motion controls, aren't they fun? Oh! Well, that was stupid. Ugh, exactly the same mistake as I made last time, which is really embarrassing. Oh, that Goomba every time, he's nearly the... Oh, death of me! Oh, you nearly tricked me there, game, but I'm too smart for that. I really shouldn't say things like, I'm too smart for that when I'm about to kill myself. Obviously, I really... hubris. It's too great. Really, it is. Oh, well, at least I got the 1-up. Alright, let's avoid hitting that Goomba for once. Wait for that thing to spin. Wonderful, we're in very good stead. Right, let's grab that 1-up, hop over. Right, let's just be calm. Gentle, tease it, and over we go. Man, you actually don't have much of a window with that thing. Let's avoid the bob-ombs entirely and just... I did this really easily last time because I wasn't thinking. Unfortunately, now I am, which makes things much, much worse. Oh, right, now we're on to the automatic section because this bit pretty much drives itself, which is very good. And it goes for swing and for swing. Right. All we have to do here is just make sure I don't do a stupid acceleration off the end, which I did last time. So basically, we just have to make sure we brake, which is great. Right. And, oh, it's very Mario Sunshine Secret here. Oh! Oh, we're okay. Oh, fuck, I actually have to use this thing, don't I? Jesus Christ. Right, onto the left. And there we go. Oh, my god. Oh. That actually wasn't that bad. And it was kind of fun. There were some grueling parts, much of it. But actually, I remember that being far worse than it was. So, that leaves us with 2 levels left in the galaxy of the Planet of Trials. Sorry, there's 3 galaxies within the Planet of Trials. Because, obviously... galaxies are a smaller subset than planets, which is obviously not true. But, either way, the next one I think is easier. I think the next one is the easiest. I enjoy the next one, generally speaking. The final one is the devil's work, and obviously I'll be getting onto that before too long, and you will very much get the full colour of my opinion with all the verbiage I choose to use when we get that episode to that level. But for now, we can actually avoid it by moving on to the green level. So the blue is the devil's work, but the green is a rather interesting one. Want to go to the Bubble Blast Galaxy. Yes, please, Green Luma. Okay then, let's roll. Or not. There we go. And so this is the Electric Labyrinth. And on the surface of it, this level seems much worse than it is. So this uses the Bubble Blast mechanic. So for those who can't remember, well, you'll see. We have a choice of 5 pathways at first. Eventually we'll have to do all 5, so I'm just going to start with the top and work my way around clockwise. So, Bubble Blast is this. You hop into a bubble, and then you have a little pushy thing, and you move around using that. Give yourself little touches in the right direction to move in that direction. There is a star chip. And then once you've got the star chip, head all the way to the top, and there is... Ooh, I'll grab some of them. There is a sling star, which launches you straight back to the middle. You're probably seeing how this is going. So, as I said, I'm going to proceed around clockwise. What makes this brutal is there's no checkpoints at all. If I were to die at any point during this experience, I just die. That's it, and I have to do the entire thing from the top, was what I was going to say. Let's try that again. So in every area there's kind of a coin which will roughly guide you in the direction to take, as in it will say go straight on down here, and then maybe go to the side a little bit, which it doesn't actually directly say, but generally each area is actually not that bad, and it will generally involve, I said generally way too much there, a star chip at some point along it, and then when you get to the end of it, will be a sling star, which will take you back to the beginning. So now here we can head down to the bottom right. Every time you die, you do have to do everything you've done again, so I tend to just keep proceeding the same way clockwise. I don't know if there is specifically an order of difficulty. Certainly the top one feels like the easiest, but other than that... 3, 2, 1, let's roll! Right. Can I just schneck around that entirely? I don't want to... That thing's only worth coins, really. Right, there's your window there. And that was actually straightforward enough. We're on to 4 already? I mean, there's a reason why I say this one is actually... I don't want to go as far as to say my favourite of the Galaxy of Trials, because none of that implies it's good in some way. Like, don't get me wrong, the Galaxy of Trials is... Well, the Planet of Trials is brutal. Oh, right, here we need to get that. Oh, bugger! Oh, let's just stay here. So, we got the final thing there, and then when you bring it back here... Where your sling star is, as it's pointing to you, is all the way around to the back of where you started, which is a little bastarding. But yes, this level is, I think, the easiest of the 3 in the Planet of Trials, because we're on to the final 5th of it here. So it's worth noting these electric gates here do like loop through entirely, so they'll go off to the left and then reappear from the right entirely. They don't bounce back in any way. And once you know that, that does make them a fair bit easier, but these circular ones can be a bit more challenging. And I guess what makes this hard is just because there is no real margin for error. It's all just about, like, got all 5 of the star chips, which is great, and a bit of a shame because it teleports you there, but it keeps your momentum going, as it brings the viewpoint over back and then back again, but it keeps your momentum moving if you needed to brake. But, yeah, you can... I find these ones really easy to predict, and so it's really easy to work with. And then, once you're through here, it's not the end of the level, but you do at least get, I believe, a checkpoint? He says, not entirely sure whether it's the case. So as long as I don't die here, we won't need to ever find out. I really thought I'd just fallen and died there, which I've made a twat of myself, but at least, yeah, I find this to be the most predictable of the 3... awful, oh god, control schemes which are present in the Planet of Trials. Oh, bloody hell. Motherfucker, let's find out if that was a checkpoint. If it's not, I'm going to scream. It was a checkpoint! Wonderful. So, a lot of what makes the second part tricksy is that you have bullet bills chasing you for huge parts of it. And I'm not kidding on that, but if I position myself... I was going to position myself here and get a free life, but either way, it's not hugely necessary. If you just keep moving, you're probably generally fine. Because the more this level goes on, the more complicated the pathways get, and therefore, obviously, the harder it does get for the bullet bills to generally chase you. And so they actually, the more you go on, the more they actually don't provide a threat. And as long as you keep moving, you're really speaking fine. And I do quite like this one, as in, I wouldn't say I like any parts of the Planet of Trials, but this one is... Oh, I was about to start talking again because I got to the same point and then I died at the same point. Grandma is sitting in a tin can, far across the world, or above the world, or whatever the fuck the Bowie song says. Too busy singing David Bowie to actually stay alive. Good one, idiot. There's a starman waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet you, but he thinks he'd blow our mind. There's a starman waiting in the sky. He's told you not to blow it, but he knows it's all gonna man. Let the children music, let the children boogie, and all the children boogie. Starman. I seem to be on a real Bowie swing. No idea why. I guess it's because I've been doing this for 15 minutes and it's really eroding what really, let's be honest, very little remains of my sanity. It's a god-awful small affair to the girl with the mousy hair, but her mummy is yelling no, and her daddy has told her to go. But her friend is nowhere to be seen. Now she walks through her sunken dream to the seat with the clearest view, and she's hooked to the silver screen. Bam, bam, but the screen is the sanding ball, for she's lived it 10 times or more. She could spit in the eyes of fools as they ask her to focus on sailors fighting in the dance hall. Oh man, look at those cavemen go. It's the freakiest show. I felt I had to continue the David Bowie thing, and I was really going for it. And also, we got a star, because... Actually, no, I was going to say something about Starman, but actually, the song I was singing there was Life on Mars, which is not at all related to stars or anything to do with them. So, we'll ignore that. You have something to say to me, Meltoad, and if it's not going to be lives... Oh, his letter from Princess Peach. Wonderful! A gift of 20 lives. She clearly knows I'm having a rough time of it. Because, oh, 5. Is that all you give me, woman? Good lord. I guess that's because I actually saved her, technically. So, quite why she's still sending me things is a little beyond me. But hey, I will take quite every little I can get from now on. Because now... Well, see, this is the thing. The first one, the Rolling Gizmo Galaxy up in the yellow, I thought was going to be awful. And I did it relatively straightforwardly. Then this next one, the green one, the Bubble Blast Galaxy, I thought was going to be nice and straightforward, and it was actually awful, to the point where it descended into a good, oh, how long has it been for me? 30 minutes of Bowie-related madness. It's not been 30 minutes, but this episode has been 30 minutes, so that plus the Rolling Gizmo has been 30 minutes. Finally, we enter the Loop-de-Swoop Galaxy. I don't feel good about this. So this is the galaxy's greatest wave. As you can see, it's bloody insanity. So, this uses everyone's favourite mechanic, the manta ray surfing mechanic. So you got a couple of penguins here which give you some wonderful advice. Tilt the control stick to turn, I knew that. You can adjust the speed with A, I knew that. And you're an old pro at race surfing, right? Yes, technically correct, as in I've done literally 1 episode of this, but... Coach. You again, back from a race surfing? This course is a monster. You sure you want to try it? Well, I mean, no, but you'll give me a sweet gold medal. You've got 3 minutes here. See, this is the awful thing. You can do this course perfectly, but you have 3 minutes to do it. If you're doing less than that, hey, doesn't matter if you complete it. Fuck you. And what I would basically say is really use the accelerator quite sparingly, because 3 minutes is actually a surprisingly long time. And I would basically say steer, then accelerate. Wait until you've, like, I'm going left here, and then once I've straightened out, then use A. Basically, don't accelerate while steering, really, unless you can seriously avoid it. Generally speaking, choose the angle you're going, and then choose to accelerate, like here, turn, A, turn, A, turn, A. And because basically, if you turn, and then suddenly press A, you'll do a really steep turn, and it will fuck you over hard style. But my other advice would be, this level is hard. This level is really, really, really fucking hard. That's not actually, the more I think about it, that isn't advice. That's just a expectations setter, really, of, much like the various other parts of the Planet of Trials, it gives you a 1-up early on. And I guess it gives you another there, which means technically you can make a sweet life profit off this. But it giving you a 1-up that early on tells you it's expecting you to lose a life basically every time you try this. Therefore, it doesn't want to discourage you from trying it, so it gives you a life every time, so you're not going to get a game over, but also it's telling you it's a pretty sweet fuck you. Oh, nice. That was a great dive I did there. Because as you noticed, I flicked the remote up, which lets you do a jump, which is pretty cool. And the recon on this course is an minute and a half, which is pretty bloody fast. Because basically, so I've done this first, like, helix just about. So basically, you've got 3 parts of this. You've got the helix, then you've got a big dive and drop, and then you've got a loop-the-loop. Hence why they call it the loop-de-swoop. The shoop-de-whoop galaxy. I'm a charging my laser. Oh, bugger. This bit's really fucking narrow, which is awful. And it's really choppy. Like, as you can see, I'm bobbing up and down, even though I'm barely bloody accelerating. So, now we need to do the loop. The loop is relatively straightforward. Just hold your nerve and just keep pulsing the accelerator, and you will go over, as I say, these kind of like choppy water conditions, which are potentially... Oh, damn it, I actually overshot the 1-up. Yeah, the choppy conditions are unpleasant, because they really do throw you left and right, but... Is that it? That feels like that was way too easy. I only just was lower than the best time. That can't have been it. Did he still give me a... Good lord! That's way easier than I remember it being. That's way easier than I remember it being. That's exactly the tone of voice I meant to use. Yes, this is how I normally talk. I am the Doctor. So, on that note, we have something different to do. We are going to head to the garden. We're going to go to the Dreadnought Galaxy, and we're going to do Episode 2, Dreadnought's Colossal Cannons. And yes, in case you're wondering, this is how I always sounded. My voice is definitely this deep, and no amount of surprise can make my voice suddenly jump up by an octave or 2. I'm surprised you've never noticed my voice this neat. Oh, what the fuck have you got to say, Milton? Oh, I've got a letter from Luigi. Bro, I got a star, but now I can't get back. This picture shows where I am. Help me the fuck out. But as I said, I'm not going there. I'm going to the Dreadnought Galaxy. Thank you very... I don't know why I'm trying to do an outro and saying thank you very much and good day, but this isn't the end of an episode, so let's go to the Dreadnought Galaxy. Oh, motherfucker, I'm a stupid idiot bitch face. Oh. Wow, that was a really interesting series of sounds. I mean, that was a very interesting series of sounds. Because this is my normal voice, and I'm speaking with this voice. I'm so bad, like, you must have noticed by now, I am awful when it comes to the voice... I'm awful when it comes to, like, voice cracks, and I try and, like, lampshade them wherever I can, where if I do a voice crack, I'm like, oh, that's really that's really a problem, because they are very funny to me, and I do exactly the same, like, in normal, like, I would love to say that was something, that humor was something I developed as part of the channel, but it's not, it's something I genuinely do in real life, where I'm like, I mean, because it's, the voice cracks are a disturbing, regular... Ooh, purple coins on the Deep Dark Galaxy, which we're not going to do. Yeah, it's, the voice cracks are a disturbingly regular part of life for me. So this is actually potentially a really fun galaxy. I say potentially mostly because there is a comet mission on this, which is awful. It's one of the hardest missions in the game, I would say. But, oh, who remembers this mechanic? Who's played Super Mario Bros. 3? from the airship levels, these screws that you have to basically position yourself on the right-hand side of it because righty-tighty, and I guess I'll be tightening. I never got righty-tighty, quite frankly, because, whether you're turning right or not really depends on which way you're looking, whereas, like, I suppose clockwise-y-tighty doesn't really have the same ring, does it? But the issue is, like, I don't see, I guess you're technically on the right here, but it's like, the right hand of the screw is going to the right, but the other side of the screw is going to the left, and equally if I was standing on the left of the screw, the left-hand side will be going to the left, whereas the right-hand side will be coming up from the right. So saying you're turning it to the right doesn't necessarily actually make it clear what you're doing. Here, we obviously have to hit all of these flip switches, and then that opens up the next level, and then further on, we actually have to do exactly the same again. Oh, my computer's fallen asleep. I'm not going to give myself the fear, because I've learned that Mario Galaxy does that just because of how little I interact with it. Big ow. He says punching his microphone stand. Yeah, it's weird to me, but I've got used to it. The fact that this is such an easy Let's Play compared to, I mean, anything else I've done in the last 2 years, because my notes are, well, let me read you out my notes for this episode. Start at Garage. Yellow first, so that's the Rolling Gizmo Galaxy. Then it says green, which was the Bubble Blast Galaxy. Blue, which was the Loop de Swoop Galaxy. Then Garden, Dreadnought's Colossal Cannons, which I'm doing at the moment. Let's hit some of these guys back. Wallop and wallop. Oh, I missed it. And bam. There we go. So that at least opens the way up ahead for us here. Then following that, it just says Luigi in the Honey Hive, cut to Bee Shroom, and talk to Luigi back at Galaxy. Back at Garage, even. And that is the plan for the entire rest of the episode. So that's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 lines. And so, yes, it's not surprising that I actually don't edit it that much, because, like, if it's a... let's use an extreme example. What did I do last? Use your words. Metro Prime Echoes, it's got, like, 40 lines per episode, so as I go through the episode, I'm deleting lines once I've done them. I'm like, I've been to the Chozo Ruins and gathered the Morph Ball bombs or some shit like that. So I'll delete that so I know what I'm doing next. Whereas here, I don't bother clearing out stuff as I've done it, when there's only, like, I say, I'm looking at currently the plan for this episode and the next 2 episodes, and that combined is like 30 lines, so it's all fitting on one screen easily, so I don't bother deleting it as I go along. Therefore, it can often be a while before I interact with it, and my computer is apparently set to fall asleep if I don't do something. Oh, no. Okay, I'm actually really glad I got electrocuted there, otherwise the thwomp would have seriously, like, done me in, and therefore I would have died. So, this is the main part of Dreadnought's Colossal Cannons, and do remember this part, because this will really come into play later, and it's awful. As you can see, we basically spend a lot of time jumping around. Oh, try and jump on that Goomba was... Oh! Is there a checkpoint on it? Oh, there is, just before the swamp, actually, so it doesn't matter that it didn't survive nearly died on the swamp last time. Because, yeah, that's actually surprisingly lenient. There's a comet mission on this where you basically have to do this entire, not the very beginning bit, like with the flip switches and stuff, but all of this moving platform stuff. And it's awful, basically, and it's got an unfortunate... Right, does anyone ever get this? When you play a game, either the first time you played a certain part of the game, or the last, like, most recent time you played that part of the game is just indelibly etched into your brain. Oh, bugger me. But yeah, so I get that really badly where, like, one part of a game or level is either associated with the first or most recent time I played it. And the most recent time I played this, I was... Basically, so, in order to do the Super Luigi Galaxy, you need to have beaten Super Mario Galaxy, and I've done that many times, but apparently not recently on this particular individual Wii, so I didn't necessarily have access to it, and so I needed to, like, when I was a week away from recording the first episode of this, I needed to beat this game as Mario. And so I sat down and did it, and I was at that point sat with the sprite, and we were watching a couple of films, and in the background of the films, I was playing through various levels of this, and I was playing through the awful comic mission on this, and it took me ages, during which we watched 90% of Sin City. A film which I did not like, for reasons I'm not necessarily going to go into here. If anyone wants to discuss that, I will talk about it in the comments happily. That film, not for me. But it wasn't a bad film. Didn't find it particularly interesting. Not that I didn't find it interesting, it wasn't for me. But that level, Dreadnought's Colossal Cannon, specifically the purple coin mission on it, which is later on in the day, is now like strongly like I'm looking at that and I'm really thinking about, like, as soon as I'm playing through that, my brain is talking about yellow people and your man in that film who's simple in the head, who's looking for what you called the girl with the hair with the who was nice to him. I'm explaining a film I didn't like badly, which is the worst thing one can do, but there we go. Oh, I've become super. So, cutting all of that conversation off, I was going to say short, but exactly where it needs to be cut off, we have a message from Luigi from the Honey Hive Kingdom. He's there. So, let's go and find him. So the Honey Hive Kingdom is obviously over here in the terrace. Oh, it repelled me, the damn door. So, here we have to obviously grab the bee shroom, because everything is basically bee-based in the Honey Hive Galaxy. And this is the final of the Luigi levels, actually. And they just seem to activate 2, 3, maybe 4 stars after you've done the last one. You unlock the next one, I suppose. I've never quite actually worked out the rules for it. There we go. And so to get Luigi on this one, you do have to go a little bit out of your way as far as things would normally be concerned, and you have to follow this edge up. And you don't have to be Luigi here, but it really does bloody help, because it's quite easy to wander off this path by accident. Holy shit, I did it first try, actually. That was pretty bloody good. Basically, if you fall off to the side by accident, then it's really handy to be able to fly, rather than just to be able to die. So, there we go. So, here's Luigi. He's up a tree, so we have to do a couple of ways. There are possible ways to dislodge him. We can ground pound, or I believe we can actually just shoot him. I don't feel great about that. Ow, 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 ow! Hey, me! I hid because of that big scary bug. Let's get the power scar and go home. Power scar, I think I said, which sounds much more metal than what he's about to give us, but you know, there we go. Grab that power scar and let's head back. I said scar again. What the fuck is wrong with my voice? Either way, we are getting towards, fortunately, the end of this episode, which is lasting a little bit longer. Well, I mean, it depends on how much the Planet of Trials cuts down to, which is probably quite a lot, because there was a lot of nonsense in that. Like, a good half of the Planet of Trials was actually just me singing David Bowie songs, because, let's face it, I've had most to all of a bottle of wine, and several pints before that. We were out for drinks, we were celebrating a friend of mine getting Dutch married. I really should explain that. In the Netherlands, you can get registered for like we call it a civil partnership in the UK. The Dutch term is like a registered partnership or something like that. And my two housemates have just got agreed for a registered partnership in the Netherlands. So we're like, hey, you got Dutch married, even though it's definitely not marriage, and that's the whole point of it, which is why they're going for it. But we are out drinking anyway, because that's what we do. Phew, I am beat. You'll have to find the rest of the power stars. Good luck searching for them. So that's the end of Luigi for this game, as in the other false Luigi, whereas us, real Luigi, we've still got, well, how many? We've still got 43 stars to gather. So we're going to be starting off with that next episode. We've got some actually really good levels. Actually, we've got 4 really good levels coming up next episode. No, well, 3 and 1 average to do next episode. So I hope you will join me then. Thank you very much, and good day.